Okay, ready? Starts with question by Blazer.
Were there any clothes on that bed?
No, there wasn't.
How many beds are in the apartment?
2.
And I am referring to your bed when I asked, were there any clothes on that bed?
No, nothing but a comforter.
Was there any difference in size?
Yes, there was.
What was that?
The bed in my room was a larger bed and the other one was a smaller bed.
Who used that smaller bed?
Diane.
Did you leave any clothes on the floor when you left?
No, I didn't.
When did you come back?
We got off at 3 o'clock. It must have been at least 25 minutes after 3.
And did you come straight home?
I stopped at the drive-in as usual and got me a cup of coffee and donut every night when I got off.
And then you went home?
Yes, I did.
What did you find when you got home?
I found Oakland police in front of my house, even waiting on me. I saw all of my stuff out in the yard and I went in.
Did you go inside your home?
Yes, I did.
What did you find?
I found everything had been burned up and I found a few things had been stolen.
What had been stolen?
I had a 6-inch TV, a radio AM and FM cassette player. It had been stolen. I had 2 pilfered 25s and a 22 I had bought from traders in San Leandro. I had it up on a shelf in a paper sack when they were gone. I had a glass jar with some change in it, which was about maybe $150, maybe even close to $200. I don't know exactly how much it was, but I know it was quite a bit. I also looked at my liquor. I had different kinds of liquor. About 4/5 was gone.
Before you went to work that night, had there been any prior fire damage to your home?
No, there hadn't.
Thank you. Mr. Sims, I have no further questions.
You may cross-examine. How long have you been working as a longshoreman, Mr. Sims?
24 years. I started on June 1st.
How long have you been living at 3111 West Street?
Oh, maybe about 8 years, something like that. I don't know exactly.
I take it you normally have lived there with your girlfriend?
Yes, I do.
What is her name?
Betty Harris.
Now, on approximately April 11th, there were 3 people living in that apartment. Is that correct?
Yes.
And apparently Mrs. Arnold was living there at the request of your girlfriend?
Right.
How long had she been living there?
Well, she lived there before about 8 years, and then she moved out, and then she came back. Last time she came back, I don't know. She might have been there about 6 months, I guess. I don't know exactly how long.
And the last occasion, she may have been living there as long as 6 months?
Yes.
How long has your girlfriend been serving in Santa Rita?
I will object. It is irrelevant.
Overruled, I will allow it. You may answer it.
I may answer. She had 90 days.
This apartment is a duplex, is that correct?
Yes.
What is it, an older house broken into 2 apartments?
Yes, they have one up and one downstairs.
How many rooms are there downstairs?
2 bedrooms, living room and kitchen and a bathroom.
When you returned to your apartment after the fire, how much of that apartment had been affected by the fire?
All over?
It was all burned?
Yes.
How about the upstairs apartment? Had that been affected?
I don't know. I didn't go up there.
So all of your rooms have been burned?
Every one of them.
Diane Arnold was in one bedroom with you, is that correct? Or sleeping in the one bedroom with you in another bed?
She was in one room, and there are 2 bedrooms. I have a small bedroom, a large one, and another one.
Maybe I misunderstood. I thought from your earlier testimony that the room in which you slept in had 2 beds in it, one large,
No, 2 bedrooms.
2 separate bedrooms. Is this one room that has been divided in some way?
I first rented the apartment from a guy. He made it into 2 bedrooms. It was this one and one big bedroom here and a living room in front. And then you go into the kitchen and then into the bathroom.
And where was Miss Johnson sleeping?
She was sleeping on the divan most of the time in the living room.
In the living room. Okay, now when you returned from your lunch break, there was an argument, is that correct?
That's correct.
Was that argument about anything other than food?
No.
Just who was paying the bills and who was eating the food?
Right, right.
Was that argument between yourself and Diane as well as Tony, or just between you and Diane?
It was between all 3.
All 3 of you?
Yes.
Was there anyone living at the home that time besides the 3 of you?
In my house?
Yes.
No.
Did all 3 of you take part in this argument?
No, we were just arguing together.
Excuse me, sir. The question is, did all 3 of you take part in the argument?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Now, Miss Johnson had been living with you for what, several days?
No, about 3.
About 3 days?
Yes.
Do you recall why she was living there?
Yes, she said she didn't have no place to stay. She asked me, could she live there? She was trying to get on welfare.
Now, during this argument about the food, were there any blows struck by anyone?
No.
Was there yelling or shouting going on?
Yes, I suppose so. Maybe arguing, I guess.
Who was doing the shouting?
They was telling me that I was going to be sorry that I was putting them out and all this and all that.
Okay, now when you say they, are you referring to Diane Arnold and Tony Johnson?
Right.
Can you remember anything specifically that Tony Johnson may have said?
I will object. That calls for hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
I didn't understand what you said.
In the argument, do you remember anything that Tony Johnson had been saying?
Yes, they were calling me.
No, I am not asking you what they said. I'm asking you specifically.
Yes, she called me and told me this and that, you know.
Okay, did she say anything about whether or not you would be sorry?
Yes, she did.
What did she say?
She said I was going to be sorry I was putting them out.
Did she say why you would be sorry?
She just said I would be sorry.
Can you remember anything specifically that Miss Arnold would have said?
Well, both of them were saying the same thing, so I don't know.
So did Miss Arnold indicate that you would be sorry?
Yes, both of them did.
Did she indicate any specific reason why you would be sorry?
Yes, because I was putting them out.
Did either Miss Arnold or Miss Johnson indicate anything that she might do that would make you sorry?
No.
Neither of them said anything specific about why you would be sorry, is that correct?
No.
Now, as you were leaving the apartment, well, let me ask you about your argument in the apartment again. You entered a main door, correct?
Yes.
And that hallway has on it 2 doors that go into 2 separate rooms?
Down at my apartment, as soon as you enter the big door from the outside, I had a double glass door to your left. I had a single glass door straight ahead, looking straight ahead.
Okay, now is the outside door to this apartment normally locked?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
How is it locked?
I had 2 locks.
Excuse me?
I had a deadbolt lock and a regular lock.
This is the door that goes to the outside into the hallway?
Yes.
When you left the apartment, did you lock those?
I didn't lock the outside because of the guy and his girlfriend that were living upstairs. I just locked my 2 doors.
All right, now your 2 doors were locked with padlocks?
Yes.
Was that one padlock on each door?
No, 1 door. I never would open it anyway. It would unlock with a regular key. The 2 double doors had 2 padlocks. I locked 1 lock.
Okay, so you put 2 padlocks on the same door?
That's right.
While Tony Johnson was living there, did she have keys to your apartment?
No.
Did Diane?
Yes, she had some, but she lost them. She said someone had robbed or taken the keys.
Now you left and contacted the Oakland Police Department, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Is that because you just happened to see a police officer?
No, I stopped on my way to work and called them.
And what did you tell them?
I told them to go down and check because of what they had told me they were going to do. I told the police to go down and check because I had to go back to work.
What did they tell you they were going to do?
They said they were going to go down and check.
When you called the Oakland Police, you said you called them because of what they said they were going to do. When you said they, were you referring to Diane Arnold and Tony Johnson?
That's right.
What did Diane Arnold and Tony Johnson say they were going to do?
I just told you. I refuse to answer again. I just told you what I said. They said I was going to be sorry.
They didn't say anything other than that, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, now after you talked with the Oakland Police Department, you went to work, is that correct?
Yes.
And your shift normally ends at what, 3 o'clock?
At 3 o'clock.
Did you get off work on time?
Yes, I did.
When you returned from work, you found your place had been burned?
Yes.
You also indicated some things were stolen?
Yes.
How badly was this place burned?
Oh, it was burned pretty bad.
Did you look at it carefully?
Sure. Me and the police.
You have indicated a lot of your property was taken out on the street, is that correct?
Yes.
Well, you just found it out on the street?
Yes.
What type of property was out on the street?
A lot of it. Everything that I have, except what was stolen.
All right. Now, was any of the property that was out on the street not burned?
No, most of it was burned.
Most of it was. That means some of it wasn't?
The biggest part of it was burned.
Was it on the sidewalk or was it in the front yard?
Well, you know, the firemen, they throw it everywhere.
Spread around?
It was everywhere.
Do you have a fence surrounding the yard, or is there a yard?
Yes, a fence around on one side.
What is on the other side?
An apartment building.
Was some of your property out on the sidewalk and stuff?
Yes, out on the sidewalk between the house and out in the yard.
If you would estimate how large an area your property was stacked,
I don't know.
you can't give me an estimate?
No, I can't.
Were there other people around besides the police
When?
your property was out in the street?
Yes, the lady across the street, Francis Williams, and the guy next door, he saw it too.
I take it this is a residential area. There are some other people that live there?
Yes, a lot of people are there.
When you inventory your property to look for stuff that had been stolen, I take it you checked stuff that was on the street?
Yes, I checked everything.
You what?
Because when I came home and the police, we talked and he said, you stayed there all night. I slept in my car so I could be there when they checked my stuff.
When did you first notice things had been stolen?
That morning,
So it would be the next morning?
yes, the same morning I got home from work.
All right. Approximately what time did you notice some things had been missing?
As quick as daybreak because I couldn't see at night. I waited until the light came and then I went in the house. I had been sleeping in my car in the front of the house.
What did you notice was stolen?
I just told you, a TV, 6-inch TV with an AM cassette player to it. 2 pistols, a 25 and 22 that I had bought from Traders in San Leandro. Okay, go ahead.
Deputy Scott, I'm going to ask you to make an examination of that paper bag and its contents. And first, could you describe for us what is contained in the bag?
The bag originally contained 15 live 38 caliber rounds.
Okay, can you indicate what the bag now contains?
It contains an amount of live rounds plus some that have been test fired by the Department of Justice.
Could you or can you indicate for us the total number of rounds that are contained in that bag, both expended or used and unused?
It appears to be 12 live rounds, and I'm not sure what's in here.
Okay, can you describe what you're referring to there?
It's a box marked evidence test fired or ballistics determination.
Does that bag contain an evidence tag on it?
Yes, it does.
It does. And did you prepare that tag?
I did.
And that tag has your signature?
Yes.
Is that correct? Does that refresh your recollection as determine whether or not you obtained any ammunition that night?
I believe I obtained this from the drawer that was brought in by Investigator Stokes the next day.
Okay.
By investigator who? Stokes?
Stokes,
Stokes.
referring to one of the drawers that was on the table.
Yes.
And from that drawer you obtained some ammunition which you placed in that bag.
Yes.
Is that correct? And was that ammunition then substituted to the Department of Justice?
Yes, it was.
Okay, now, did you locate any projectiles, any spent bullets in the residence?
Yes.
And how many?
1.
And do you recall where that was located?
It was located on the table.
Your Honor, I have another small paper bag here. Ask that be marked People's next in order. It's stapled shut at this time. I'll remove the evidence tag, trying to get this open. Submit the bag with its contents to counsel to examine. Your Honor, from the bag I've removed what appears to be a small yellow capsule. Ask that that be marked People's exhibit next in order.
19 for identification.
Deputy Scott, I'm going to ask you to take a look at number 19, and can you describe that for us?
It's a vial containing a projectile wrapped in paper with the case number and my initials on the top.
Could you indicate for us that vial then contains a projectile?
Yes.
And is that same projectile that you recovered from the table?
Yes, it is.
Could you indicate for us more particularly where on that table approximately you located that projectile?
I would have to examine the photograph.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask that the projectile be received in evidence.
No objection.
Be received.
Deputy, I take it then that you don't remember the exact location on the table?
Not the exact location.
Okay. Did you submit that projectile to the Department of Justice?
Yes.
Did you observe any bullet damage in the house, in the residence?
Yes.
And could you indicate what you observed and where?
Well, there appeared to be a small hole and splintering on the edge of the table, which corresponded to a hole in the rug and I believe a mark on the floor where a projectile was fired into the table, through the rug, across the floor, and ricocheted upwards, landing on the table.
Okay, and did you observe any other damage to the interior of the residence?
So there was a hole in the glass on the entrance door.
That's the front door,
Yes.
and that appeared to be a bullet hole.
Yes.
Did you notice any damage to the door itself?
Yes, the casing on the lock side of the door had been removed.
Have been what?
Removed?
I'll object to that term. That sounds like he's making some kind of a conclusion that a carpenter did it or something.
Your Honor, he can describe it in more detail. Counsel can ask him about it on direct examination. I think he simply indicated that it's
Yes.
off of its normal location.
Objection will be overruled.
Deputy Scott, did you make any examination of the molding to determine the type of molding, thickness, etc.?
No, I didn't.
And did you seize that molding as evidence?
No.
Now, the door with the bullet hole, can you indicate for us if that bullet hole was in the glass portion of the door or in the wood portion?
It was in the glass portion.
Okay, Your Honor, I have 2 additional photographs. Ask that these be marked people's next in order, submitting those to counsel.
20 and 21 for identification.
Deputy Scott, would you take a look at these 2 photos, number 20 and 21? Indicate for us if that appears to reflect the front door and the bullet damage to the door?
Yes, it does.
Can you differentiate the two, please, for purposes of the record?
Could you describe what's in each photo with regard to the point of view?
Number 20 is the view from inside the house, looking towards the front door. And number 21 is a view from the front porch, looking toward the outside of the door.
And do those both accurately depict the damage to the door that you saw that night?
Yes.
Deputy, with regard to Peoples, number 20, number 20 also contains what appears to be a portion of the molding. Is that correct?
Yes, there's, I believe, a portion of the molding underneath the stairway.
Okay, and you said you didn't take that molding.
No, I didn't.
Did you remove that window pane of glass containing the bullet hole?
No, I didn't.
Did you seize the door itself?
No, I didn't.
How about the lock from the door?
No.
Did you have occasion, I believe you previously indicated you did, to see the defendant in the house?
Yes.
And did you observe any blood on the defendant's clothes or on his body?
No, I didn't.
Did you observe any marks at all that caught your attention? Any scratches, bruises, etc. on his body?
Not that I can recall, no.
Now, did you seize the defendant's clothes that night?
No.
Did you seize his shoes?
No.
Did you photograph the defendant?
I believe I took one photograph of him, of the defendant.
Uh-huh. Do you recall that for certain?
I believe so.
Do you recall what he was wearing?
No, I don't.
Do you recall what type of shoes he was wearing?
No, I don't.
Deputy Scott, isn't it customary in the course of a homicide investigation to obtain the suspect's clothing?
Yes, it is.
But you didn't do that in this case?
He said he didn't.
No.
Oh, he didn't?
He said he didn't.
I heard him say he did.
I think the record speaks for itself, Your Honor. I think it's clear. Your Honor, I'm not sure if counsel, if we admitted these last photos, they were 20 and 21 in evidence.
They're not admitted.
No objection.
There being no objection, they'll be received.
Thank you. Deputy Scott, did you locate any bullet damage that was exterior to the residence, that is outside of the rooms itself?
There appeared to be a groove in the top edge of the porch handrail, which seemed to line up with the hole in the door.
Okay, you are referring to the front porch?
Yes.
Is that correct? Did that groove on the front porch appear to match up to the bullet hole in the front door?
Yes.
Did you make any exact measurement or determination of the trajectory of the bullet that went through the front door and into the wood at the porch?
Only a visual examination. It wasn't an exact.
You didn't use a string or a stick or anything of that nature?
No, I didn't.
Isn't it customary and usual in an investigation of this nature to determine such things as trajectory with precision?
Yes.
But you didn't do that in this case?
No, I didn't.
Now, with regard to the bullet hole in the table and the hole in the rug, did you make any exact measurements to determine the trajectory of that bullet?
Nothing exact, only a visual.
And you could have used a string, something like a string, and put it through the holes to determine the trajectory of that bullet?
Yes, we could have.
But you didn't do that?
No.
Did you obtain the clothing of the victim in this case from the body that was located on the floor?
Yes.
Your Your Honor, at this time, I have 3 paper bags containing items of clothing. I'll remove these to examine them. First, Your Honor, I have a very bloody flannel shirt. Ask that be marked People's Next in Order. Council has seen that.
I have now.
Your Honor, for the record, we are marking the bag containing the shirt.
22.
Deputy Scott, would you examine the item, this shirt, contained in People's Number 22 and indicate for us if that is the shirt that the victim, Mr. King, was wearing at the time of his death?
Yes, it is.
Would you mark that shirt or the bag in some way to indicate that?
I placed it in a bag and sealed it and attached my evidence tag to it.
I take it that at the time you obtained that shirt, it was not completely dry.
That's correct.
Did you make any observations with respect to that shirt?
I don't believe I did, no.
Do you recall if you noted any damage to the shirt? Stop there.
GILL.
And for the court?
I'm the witness.
For the plaintiff, Joseph C. Townsell, Townsell.
Okay, and we're starting at the bottom. Direct examination by Mr. Townsell.
Mr. McLean, by whom are you employed?
Shelley Trucking,
And currently, who is the operator of Shelley Trucking?
Shelley Lovejoy.
Do you know a Patrick McQueen? Do you see Mr. McQueen in the court today?
Yeah,
Can you tell us where he is seated today and what he is wearing?
sitting right there, wearing the yellow t-shirt.
May the record reflect he has identified the defendant, Your Honor?
The record will so reflect. Sir, would you always answer out loud and not shake your head so that the court reporter can take down your answer?
Oh,
Thank you.
How long have you known Mr. McQueen?
9 years.
How did you first meet him?
Potential employer.
And that was for what company?
Shelley Trucking Company.
Did you know Mr. McQueen during the time that he separated from his wife?
Yes.
Now, just prior to that time, did you have occasion, well, just after that happened, did you have occasion to speak with Mr. McQueen?
Numerous times.
Did Mr. McQueen ever express any threats to you about his wife?
Objection, irrelevant, and lack of foundation with respect to time. We went through this at great length, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the other preliminary hearing is not important. I think he has to make an objection about this preliminary hearing.
Well, my objection is irrelevant. This witness purportedly heard threats made by my client. The witness testified under oath in a previous proceeding that the threats he heard occurred between June of 1987 and the, quote, end of October or beginning of November 1987. That was at page 30 of the transcript. The event in question here is June 2, 1988. And it is my belief that any alleged threats that this witness would testify about made by my client towards his wife at that time are A, irrelevant, B, subject to a 352 objection, and C, do not meet the test for admissible evidence on the question of intent under 1103 of the Evidence Code. For these reasons, one, they are too remote, approximately 7 to 9 months, 7 to 12 months old at the time they were allegedly made. Number 2, they are not similar. That is to say, they are not probative with respect to what Mr. McQueen's intent was on June 2, 1988, when he broke the back window of the home. In any event, Your Honor, that's my offer with respect to what I anticipate the witness to say, and my legal position with respect to it.
All right. Mr. Townsell, do you wish to respond?
Your Honor, first of all, these statements are being elicited for the purpose of showing state of mind. So I don't think that they are irrelevant because they will go to the state of mind of the defendant.
Well, Your Honor, my position is,
Counsel has asked to keep them out under 352 in saying they are not admissible. I think they are admissible even though they might be remote. It goes to the weight, not to the admissibility. So I think the statements can come in both on relevancy and they are admissible because the statements made by the defendant show his state of mind.
Your Honor, the charge in count 1, and by the way, it is my understanding we are only proceeding on count 1. that various statements he may have made 7 and 12 months earlier are not relevant with respect to what his intent was on June 2, 1988.
Well, without knowing exactly what he said, I'm not sure if it relates to something that he intends to do in the future. And your argument that it is too dissimilar, how I can rule on that. I don't know what he said versus what I've heard so far that he did. I agree that the length of time appears to be fairly substantial. I'm going to overrule the objection at this time. Let the witness answer, and then you can renew the motion. And I will reconsider it after we have gone into exactly what was said and what the dissimilarities are.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Your Honor. Do you remember the question, Mr. McLean?
Yes, sir. Well, you know, the most serious accusation was that,
Excuse me, there is still an objection pending with respect to the time involved.
Right, that's also overruled pending. You can renew your motion after we establish what was said and under what circumstances, all right? Why don't you ask the question again? Let's start over.
Did you hear Mr. McLean make any comments or threats about his wife?
she had signed her own death warrant. He intended to murder her.
Did he tell you how he was going to do that?
Well, several different ways.
Did he ever show you any types of weapons?
Yes.
And what type of weapons did he show you?
I saw a handgun, about a .45, a big old dark frame thing.
And you said that you saw a 45 in whose possession?
The defendant's,
Who?
Mr. McQueen.
Now, when you saw Mr. McQueen with that 45, did he make any statements about that 45 with regards to his wife?
Well, just that he planned on shooting her, so it just...
Objection, non-responsive, move to strike. The question was very particular, and we didn't get an answer.
I think the answer is very particular, Your Honor. He said he was going to shoot her.
All right, the objection is overruled. I think it was responsive.
Now, these comments were made by Mr. McQueen at some point in time. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I always checked in on the telephone with him.
Objection, move to strike, non-responsive. The question can be answered yes or no.
Yes.
All right, the objection is sustained. The remainder of his answer is stricken.
Thank you. Do you recall the time period in which Mr. McQueen made those comments?
Well, when he was having trouble with his wife and looks like a separation or divorce is imminent, that's probably about the beginning of June of last year, and we talked until he was no longer my boss in early November of last year.
So, between the period of June and November of 1987, we are talking. Is that correct?
Right?
He made those comments to you?
Yes.
And did he make those types of comments on one occasion or